I wasn't eating right, and just a bunch of things came together. And
Then you became hospitalized.
yeah, I went to catatonic. The power of the mind is unmatchable, and we really can do a lot with that positivity.
Hello, my name is Pej. I'm an interventionist and a recovery coach. I'm here today with my friend. His name is Marcus. Sometimes in some circles that he runs in, they call him Flash. Our topic today is having mental health and mixing substances with it. I've known Marcus for quite some time. He's a good guy. Hi, Marcus.
Hi.
Glad you're here.
Glad to be here.
Glad that you wanted to participate in making a video and putting it out there, letting people know some of the stuff that you've been through. So I'm just going to ask you some questions real quick. As far as you were adopted?
Yeah.
Okay, and where did you grow up in your childhood?
So I was adopted at birth.
Okay.
I didn't know about it till later on. I actually got to meet my birth family before knowing I was adopted later.
Mhm.
But I grew up in California.
Which part of California?
Inland Empire.
Okay.
And sometimes in Orange County with my mom, so I was kind of scattered.
Mhm.
And then,
When you were adopted, your parents were together?
Yeah, in the beginning.
And they split up when?
Around when I was I think 8 or 9.
Okay. And did you have any brothers or sisters?
I have a half brother and a half sister that I found out later was my family, and I have a stepbrother. So yeah.
But the halves were actual blood, like from...
Yeah, from my mom's
They were
side.
adopted too?
No, they were back in Kentucky where my birth family is from. So yeah.
Okay, but growing up, was there any brother or sister around you?
Just my stepbrother from my dad's wife, her son.
Okay.
So yeah.
As a kid, were you a troubled child?
Yeah, I was always kind of getting into mischievous activities, I guess you could say, but not really too bad till later on.
Were you ever prescribed any substances when you were a kid at all?
Oh yeah, I was given medication since I was 6 years old.
What kind of medication?
Anything from Ritalin to, I don't know, all the mood stabilizers like lithium. I was on at a young age.
Okay, so as a youngster in that age, do you know why they gave you Ritalin that young? Do you know what the purpose is for kids?
Yeah. So to concentrate or to calm me down more. Actually, that's what it was for.
So for kids, usually, it's my understanding they give them Ritalin or those types of stimulant
Adderall,
drugs
stuff like that,
to calm the kid down.
Yeah.
As opposed to adults that take Ritalin or Adderall is to make them focus more and be more assertive. Okay, so and then lithium, they had you on lithium that young?
Yeah, well, I started lithium at 12, and I was on it for 12 years.
Do you know why they put you on lithium so young?
When I had found out I was adopted the way I did, I had kind of a change in behavior, and they went to do a brain scan, and they said my bipolar had been activated, so they got me on that, and I was on a pretty high dosage.
And when you say change in behavior, was there ups and downs?
More just moody, just getting more into trouble than before.
Were you oppositional within the home?
Yeah, but to be honest, I was more kept to my room for a while, and that's why I kind of started lashing out more. And
did you yell a lot?
Oh yeah.
Was there yelling within the household?
It would vary depending on who I was with. At my mom's, yeah, because I would be able to go and do whatever, and it was more. And at my dad's house, it was more I was just in the room, kind of to myself, angry at the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you, when you were in high school, did you finish high school on time?
Yeah, I finished it in Utah.
And why were you in Utah? Did you go there as a wilderness, for drug rehab?
Well, I did go to a wilderness program earlier on, but I went to a program in Utah called Diamond Ranch Academy for troubled teens.
Troubled teens. So you were a troubled teen.
Yeah.
Was that because you were using drugs or behavioral or all of it?
It was honestly back then more just my mental health. Drugs were here in the equation here and there at that time, but it was a lot more with my mental than anything.
In your adolescent period, were you often prescribed stuff for mental health?
Yes.
Were you using marijuana?
There was a few occasions, yeah, but I hadn't really used it until later on.
Drinking?
Yeah.
Doing other substances? Any LSD, any hallucinogens?
No, I never did those.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stimulants, opiates?
My thing was mainly marijuana and alcohol, but that as later on that became more of a thing.
If you were medicated for mental health and you would use marijuana, wouldn't it defeat the purpose of the medication?
Completely, yeah.
Okay. But you like to self-medicate with the marijuana because did it make you feel calm?
When I would smoke weed, I would just feel like less socially awkward. Like I always felt like when I smoked late, especially later on, I felt like I could like fit into my own skin in society, and that would usually lead to like a lot of other stuff later down. That wasn't good, but
Growing up in, say, the IE, in was it Riverside?
Rancho Cucamonga,
Rancho Cucamonga. Growing up there, your influences growing up was what kind of music did you like?
hip hop.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you liked rap. You're a rapper
Yeah,
yourself.
yeah,
You love to flow freestyle, and you also like to record.
yeah.
You have a rap name right now. What is it called?
Mental Mac.
And why did you name yourself Mental Mac?
So a while back, when I was living in another part of California, I was kind of like the crazy white boy on the block because I
Mhm.
ended up living in other areas, and so they started calling me Mental.
Why? Because did you act like mentally?
Yeah, I was going crazy for a little because I just got out of Utah. I was trying to prove myself on the place where the place I was at, and they started calling me Mental. I changed it to Mental Mac when Mac Miller died. I thought that would be a good tribute, and I thought it was more smooth. So Mental Mac,
Mhm.
yeah.
So now, how old are you now?
I'm 29.
Okay, in the last, let's say, when did you, in your young adulthood, when did you start going to treatment?
I actually remember the date of the first treatment I went to. It was 7/11/2008.
And when you went to treatment, was it for substance abuse or was it for mental health or was it for both?
It was more. So at the time, my dad wanted to see there was more holistic way for my mental health. Like if I went on a spiritual, because I went to the wilderness program,
Yeah.
and that
But you went
first,
to wilderness when you were younger.
yeah. Well, that was the one I was talking
In
about.
2008, you were,
Yeah.
that's when you went?
That's when I went to the first one. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was more for behavioral more than anything because I don't know. It was kind of a mix of everything. I was smoking cigarettes a lot then, and my dad found out. He didn't really know I was smoking weed here and there, so I guess I just narked on myself. But yeah, that's what it kind of mix of everything.
Okay, and then you started going to treatment, like in the last, since the time I met you, and we're
Yeah.
just going to be totally open here about this.
Yeah,
In the time that I met you, you had good insurance.
yeah,
You knew you had good insurance,
yeah.
and you were going to treatment centers for the wrong reasons.
Well, yeah. So the last 5 years, I've been to way up there in the triple digits of like treatments. Like it was
Triple digits.
yeah, like yeah, I've been in different states, different cities in each state. I've been literally all over. Before I even knew about certain aspects of the wrong reasons, I had been to so many places, but then I found out later and went for the wronger reasons of going to treatment.
Okay, so before you were going, it was legitimate because of substances like what?
So later on, I'd gotten into meth,
Okay.
like just a little. It wasn't like something that progressed too much, but it did afterwards lead to me using a lot more marijuana and drinking a lot more. Yeah, so that was my main.
If you're in the
Vices.
triple digits of going to treatment, what was the amount of time you were usually staying in a center?
Couple days to
Couple
a
days.
week.
And then would you act out and then get kicked out?
Yeah, I was for a long time, very angry. So like one thing could just set me off, and then I'd get kicked out, or I would just leave, or I'd meet a girl and then leave, like and go hang out with her, or just stupid reasons. A lot of them.
Do you feel like throughout your life you've sought a lot of validation from people,
Yeah,
women,
especially yeah.
especially women? When you were going to treatment, like let's say the last few years,
Yeah.
when did you get turned on to any kind of body brokering?
Yeah, so I remember I was staying at my buddy's house, like at the time. It wasn't like a sober living, but my dad thought it was, so he was helping me pay for it. It's kind of like a trap then. But then
Was it a sober living, but he just wasn't, like he wasn't doing well?
no, it was like it used to be a sober living, but then it just became a house where people were renting.
Mm-hmm.
And I told my dad it was sober living, so I could like stay there, and he would pay the rent.
Yeah.
But then I had found a place called Tahiti Inn in Costa Mesa, and I was kicking.
That place is really shady.
Yeah, I know.
I did drugs in that place many moons ago.
yeah, it's a shady
You just
area.
look at that place and you're like, they do drugs there.
Yeah, no, for real, yeah.
I know there's a Chevron right there.
Yeah. I live right there, right across from the north.
I grew up
yeah.
in Costa Mesa. So
Okay, yeah, you know what's up. So I ran into a guy I went to treatment with a while before at the Tahiti Inn. I was like, oh, what's up, bro? And we started talking, and then he was like, yeah, bro, why don't you like go to treatment, like, and like I was like, oh no, I'm good. I'm in a sober living right now. He's like, no, but you get paid. And I had heard about it, but I didn't really know or have the connections.
So he knew you had good insurance, and he was basically enticing you to get money to go like to another treatment center for the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Then it was all dark from there. Yeah.
Okay. Did you actually ever make money by doing that?
Yeah, a couple times, but most of the time it never really. They just kind of lead you on.
How much would they promise you?
At one point I was promised like 6,000 for like a
One stay?
yeah.
Didn't you tell me the other day like they would say that, but then later they would jack you or they would do something dumb?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
they wouldn't come through?
Yeah.
That sounds like a bad drug deal.
Yeah, for real.
But you're the drug.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So you got caught up in that game for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then you ended up finding weed-friendly treatment
Yeah.
centers because you loved your weed
Yeah.
and you'd love to drink too.
Yeah.
So then you were going to these weed-friendly places, which to me is like the most bogus type of treatment.
Yeah.
I mean, those weed-friendly places also allow people to do Xanax and things like that too. So it's like, it's not really treatment. Like I just
Right.
don't understand. It's, there's so many loopholes because it's legal in California. There's so many of them that
So is
sprouted up.
alcohol though, and that's why a lot of people go for alcoholism.
Sure.
To get sober.
But you were going to these places, and then obviously we got closer in each other's lives.
Yeah.
And when I caught wind of it,
Yeah.
I knew what the problem was.
Yeah.
The problem was that you had a platinum card that these treatment centers were wanting to bring you in because they knew they were going to get paid.
Right.
So I intercepted.
Yeah.
And I know that you hated my guts at the time, but I talked to your father, and I
Yeah.
said, you need to cut his insurance,
Yeah.
or he's never going to get better. He's misusing your insurance policy to go to places so that he has a bed, food, ability to go on outings, and he gets to smoke weed. It's
Yeah.
horrible. It just
Yeah, it was
it
crazy.
sounds horrible.
It was a crazy cycle.
So you broke out of that cycle.
Yeah, because thanks to you and help from you, because I see people now that was doing what I was doing, jumping. I talked to someone not too long ago, like a couple months ago, that was doing the same thing I was doing and is still doing it.
Mhm.
And he's like in his late 30s, and I was like, whoa, dude, that would have been, you know what I mean, me.
Mhm.
So
this is, and I wanted to talk about this. So right now, as far as your mental health goes,
mhm.
what have you been diagnosed with over the years?
I've been diagnosed with bipolar, OCD, ADHD, anxiety, depression, insomnia, and PTSD.
Did you ever have schizophrenia?
No.
Never heard voices?
No.
Okay. So when you came back into my life in the last few months,
Mhm.
we were interacting, and I noticed something was off with you.
Yeah.
It seemed like your peers thought that you had relapsed,
Yeah.
but I was convinced it was more mental health.
Yeah.
You ended up, were you in mania?
That last one, I'm not too sure, because usually when I would start feeling the mental, I wouldn't be trying to stay sober, so I just go straight to the substance. But I was fighting it because I really wanted to stay sober, and I think I just hit a.
Were your medications off?
Yeah, they were off, and towards the end, I wasn't taking them too consistently. Then that led to not getting sleep. I wasn't eating right, and just a bunch of things came together. And
Then you became hospitalized.
yeah, I went to catatonic, to where I can't even put words together for like a night. But
And
yeah.
then they stabilized you and sent you to a place for a few weeks of observation.
Yeah, then I went to a crisis center called Treehouse.
Mm-hmm.
That like what
In South Orange County, not
Treehouse, the
not the
military
Treehouse
one.
yeah.
I've been that's a great program as well.
Yes.
But yeah, no, it was a crisis center that helped me get stabilized and on the right meds. So the meds just need adjustments, and yeah, it was great.
And now your meds are stable and you're stable.
Yeah,
So this is what I do want to talk about. And I know often, like, you and I have a lot of interactions every day, and you're the type that likes to jump ahead, and you're like, what do I do? And when am I going to do this? And how is that going to happen?
yeah, even today.
I just want you to know, even today. So as a coach, like a lot of people that come into my care when I'm working with them, it's my specialty to help. I mean, this was what was done for me too. When I first got sober, I had a person that was like a coach and a mentor that they always emphasize the importance of getting recovery. So you're in that process right now of getting recovery
Yeah.
from the substances, right?
Yeah.
And changing rewiring your brain and the way that you think and the things that you did, and the impulsivity, like of going and buying a beer, like you did that one time,
Yeah.
right? And just downing a beer, or you're at a point now where right now it seems like you've embraced your recovery so much to where sobriety is number one for you, because like you mentioned last time when that happened, catatonic, like you would have usually reached for something to use.
Oh yeah.
And you were so out of your mind that your peers thought that you were relapsed.
Yeah.
They were convinced of it. They told me later, like, we think he should start over his sobriety date. And I said, I don't think you know what you're talking about. Right. I know, Marcus, like it wasn't a relapse.
Yeah.
I wouldn't co-sign his bullshit,
yeah.
right? But, however, I mean, you know your own truth.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I don't think you'd be holding on to these days. If you relapsed, you're the type of
No,
guy.
I would have told you.
You would have said it, yeah. But my specialty is to try to help you reintegrate back into the mainstream of life.
Right.
And that means basically doing recovery and then adding certain things into your life, such as getting to a point in your recovery to where you should go get a job.
Yeah.
You should start making money. You should start learning the value of money, saving some money, but also spending towards certain things like saving towards a car, eventually getting an apartment or renting a room. The most important thing in that process is that you have recovery under your belt.
Right.
If your recovery is solid and there's a foundation and it's structured and you're like really serious about it, sky's the limit. You're going to do a ton of stuff. But you have this tendency to jump ahead. It might be your OCD. It might be many different things. It might just be future tripping or not wanting to live in a house with a bunch of different guys and having your own place and having your own privacy. But like, we don't want to jump ahead.
Right.
Everything's going to happen within its own time, right?
Yeah.
As long as you just keep going with this flow, as long as you keep the drugs and alcohol out of your body, you have a standing chance to really get your life together. I am so happy that based off of what happened a few months ago, right now your medications are stable. Your mental health is under control. You are easier to talk to. Sometimes you can frustrate me and I can frustrate you, but like we have this great communication to a certain extent, depending on the hours of the day when I'm able to talk to you and the hours that I'm not.
Yeah.
But I think you're just a beautiful human being all around.
Thanks.
Like I know your heart. You are such a good guy. Like I really, with all things considered and all the tail chasing and woman chasing and all that stuff you like to do, I can redirect you. It takes a lot, but you listen, and in a sense you're like the nephew I never had or the son I never had. But I like having you in my life. And I remember when I first met you, I thought that's a difficult person. I don't know if I'll be involved in his life or he'll be involved in my life, but somehow the spirit of the universe brought you into my life, and I love working with you.
Same.
I really, really do.
Same.
To close it out, like, is there some kind of positive energy that you can put out into the universe to give hope to people with bipolar or with any kind of mental health where they struggle?
Yeah, at the end of the day, whether or not you deal with a substance abuse or just mental health or a combination of both, I truly believe that if you have a positive outlook and faith in something greater than yourself, for me it's God, like it gives you something to hold on to and something to strive for on a daily basis, like that it's possible to overcome. But just a positive outlook, like I believe it's all mental, and the mind, the power of the mind is unmatchable, and we really can do a lot with that positivity.
And with that said, if you or somebody that you know is struggling with mental health and addiction and you don't know what to do about it, you can always contact me at 310-596-9356. We can explore options, we can talk, we can see how we can possibly help you or that individual that might be suffering or struggling. My name is Petch.